Hey, what's going on? All right. So, figured I was just going to go on ahead and just give a reaction to what's going on, you all. Figured I was going to go on ahead and just give a reaction to the Breonna Taylor situation that took place. You're watching On the Mic with Mike. Yes, what's going on? I am your host, Instructor Mike. And you can feel free to just follow me on the, you said we're all here. You know, this is the first time I've gone live on YouTube. First time I've gone live on YouTube just to see 39 people here. Yeah, what's going on? What is going on? Yes. By the way, you can follow me on Mike Brown on Facebook, and obviously you are subscribing to the YouTube page, so that's a good thing there too. Yeah, it's a lot of stuff that's going on right now in Louisville. Those of you all who follow me on Facebook, you kind of knew that the decision was going to already be not to indict the officers involved in this situation. You have Detective Brett Hankinson, Sergeant John Mattingly, and Detective Miles Cosgrove. And if you had a chance to look at the Attorney General Daniel Cameron's decision to charge, or just the announcement of the decision to charge, you already know that only Detective Brett Hankinson was the one who was charged with a Class D felony, which is very low actually, wanton endangerment, first degree, 3 counts of it, not necessarily for shooting directly into Breonna Taylor's apartment, but shooting into the other apartments too, in violation of Kentucky Revised Statute 508.060. So we know that to be the case in the shooting of Breonna Taylor, that, yeah, she was not innocent. She was not innocent. And yeah, we knew what the outcome was going to be, but I'm probably not going to say some of the things that you think I should say. But I will keep this relatively short so that, you know, you can go back to watching some of the other stuff that is going on in Louisville. And by the way, I wish for all of your safety. I really, really do. I wish for all of your safety. I wish that, you know, you all watch your six, watch your area. Hope you have enough ammo and enough, you know, resources or whatever you need, because I hate to say it, but they're gonna burn shit down. That's unfortunate that it's like that, but they're gonna burn shit down, and it's really messed up. But I don't expect anything less than that. I don't think there's gonna be any peaceful protest. I will say that I am not Republican, nor am I a Democrat. I'm not conservative or a liberal. I'm an independent, and I tend to think straight down. Yeah, I heard Freeman, a cop just got shot in Louisville, and that's a sad case of this occurring, and I think it's going to get worse before it gets better. I tend to be rather independent in my thinking, but I would tell you this: if you want the link, message me, okay? Or even I'll put the link in the comments. And some of you all have already heard, if you will, heard about or read from the Tatum report about the 42 pages of information that came out showing that Breonna Taylor was not the person, the innocent person that the media was claiming her to be. Now, granted, her death was tragic. She was not the subject of the gunfire or the target of the gunfire. She was the recipient of it after her boyfriend shot at who he thought were home invaders, okay? And so the cops returned fire, and then Breonna was tragically killed. And I will tell you, I'll answer that question too, Big Jake, 6'5". I will tell you that it's not surprising that they returned a no true bill. Not surprising because of other people's agendas saying the white racist system or whatnot. That's your subjective opinion. But because there was no evidence in this matter to support criminal charges. Yes, you do have the act. You have the tragic act. But you don't have enough criminal intent here to state that with malice aforethought, that there was the intention to kill Breonna. Yes, it did happen, but there was no intention. The intention, in fact, was to stop Kenneth Walker, her boyfriend, who shot at them at the time, from continuously shooting. And that was the issue in this. And yes, it is any loss of life, regardless, is a tragedy. I agree with you, River Rain. I agree. Some of those people hating on the cops until something happens that the violent BLM and Antifa don't like, then they run and scream for the police. You're absolutely right. I agree. I wish Breonna hadn't died, but you can't hold on to destruction and get mad when destruction happens to you. Billy, you're absolutely correct. And even for that matter, you can't sit here and align yourself with someone to the likes of a Jamarcus Glover. I'm going to show you his booking photo right here. This is her. The person on the left-hand side is her. Let me get this other thing off the screen. The person on the left-hand side is her ex-boyfriend, Jamarcus Glover. Twice convicted, not twice, but multi-convictions for narcotics. You got Adrian Walker, which was another co-conspirator. Kenneth Walker, he was charged with attempted murder of a police officer, but those charges were subsequently dropped because if that case were to go to trial, and any attorney worth their salt knows that to be the case, that, if the case were to go to trial, Kenneth Walker would have probably been found not guilty because based upon the no-knock warrant, even though it was stated that they knocked, but they did not announce, or they did announce, that's what's in debate here, that regardless, Kenneth Walker would have done what any reasonably prudent person would have done at that time. Believed that the persons entering were home invaders and shot at that person. Okay, so Kenneth Walker being released from those charges, I would agree with that. I would, as a firearms instructor, as a person who's been in shooting situations and stuff like that. Yes, I can relate. If you knock on the door and you don't say who you are, my bet is when you come in, and we don't know the layout of the apartment. That's one thing that we don't know. We don't know the layout of the apartment in terms of, just like prime example, my apartment. As soon as you come in the door, yeah, I do have a 1-bedroom apartment, but I'm not in the 1 bedroom. I'm typically in the living room. So as soon as you come in, I'm basically in a box. So I have to defend myself where I am because I'm well within that 21 foot or 21 feet. Okay. So given the circumstances, those circumstances and other factors early in the morning creates that level of exigency where a reasonable, prudent person might find that Kenneth Walker did act reasonably given the circumstances and given the basis, or given the fact that it was a no-knock warrant. Okay. You said, wait, I thought her boyfriend was arrested across town right as the raid was happening unbeknownst to the cops. No, her boyfriend wasn't arrested across town. Her boyfriend was inside of the apartment and he returned fire. Now, if you read the 41-page document that was released by the Tatum report, as released by someone else, perhaps in the command or whatnot, if you look at that document, you're damn near on a table reading for The Wire season 6. It's just that much information. And having been a part of, multi-level narcotic operations, and as the affiant on search warrants and stuff like that, having to put the information, put the pictures, put the stuff together to go before the district, or in Cook County, Illinois, the state's attorney, where, as the affiant, we go to the state's attorney and they look at the evidence to see if it supports probable cause before they sign off on it. And then it goes to it goes to the judge, where the judge then reads it. You swear out to the facts and circumstances therein. You get your warrant, 96 hours to serve it, all that great stuff. And so when you look at all that, all this information, Breonna Taylor was not a drug dealer herself, no. But was she part of the criminal conspiracy? Oh, absolutely. She was very much a part of the criminal conspiracy. Cars registered in her name, her apartment being allowed to be used as an address where parcels of drugs and information and things like that, continuous narcotic hand-to-hand transactions, continuous traffic pulling up in and outs and stuff like that, and people complained. So you had the Louisville Metro Police based investigation unit put up cameras and put up surveillance and get an exhaustion out of trying to track them and follow them and things like that. And so in that given situation, they were able to get a search warrant to put a GPS on the car where they didn't have to follow. They could just stay in place where they knew they were going to go and just track their movements. You're talking about The Wire season 6. This is The Wire season 6. And so create synergetic transformation. Ask the question on YouTube, what's the right way to serve a warrant where this tragedy doesn't happen again? Contrary to belief, there is no right way to serve a warrant. Anybody who's ever been in combat, anybody who's ever been in the execution of search warrants, and especially narcotic search warrants, because those are the most violent, if you will, well, those and your murder search warrants and the fugitive search warrants. But narcotics tend to be your most violent search warrants, or one of your most violent search warrants, because where there's drugs, there's guns. Got to protect the product. And so, yeah, she wasn't an EMT at the time. She had been released from her job. But back to the question, there's no correct way to necessarily serve a search warrant, because there are search warrants that are served that don't end like that, right? But anybody who's ever been in combat knows that no plan ever survives first contact. You've heard that before. You can, go and do surveillance around the house and plan with this and this and plan with that is, and if you're lucky enough to get blueprints, you get blueprints. Great. Okay, good. Go ahead and do this. We do this, and you can go ahead and practice, and your room clearances and entries, whether it be a dynamic entry or soft entry, if such an entry exists in certain cases, and sometimes it does. But normally your narcotics are dynamic, because the minute that they know you are there, they are beelining for the fucking toilet. They are trying to destroy those narcotics, because they know if you don't get the narcotics, whatever little bit you get, you can't be charged for all that weight. And so they're trying to yes, absolutely, free man. They're trying to destroy that evidence. So that's why the narcotics search warrant is typically dynamic. And depending upon the structure of the house, if you're able to penetrate through the bathroom as much as you can to provide, or the rooms near the bathroom, to provide distractionary devices, so when they begin to run in that direction, the distractionary device detonates or does what it's supposed to do to provide that concussion and that flash of light to buy you the time to get them in custody, so they don't destroy the evidence, right? Those things would be opportune, okay? That doesn't always happen, and we're talking about an apartment here, right? So they had to go with what they had, right? I really wish those people looking to defund the police would realize that police respond to all emergency calls, like car accidents, homes where a child may be choking, heart attack victim, etc. I don't think they care about any of that. I don't think any of that factors into their way of thinking about defunding the police. They don't really care. And I hate to say it, but in our community, I may be saying some disparaging remarks, but it is what it is. Before, when I was a kid, we kind of actually looked out for each other. Now, we don't give a fuck about that stuff. We don't look out for each other like we should. And I hate to say that. I mean, you could have a domestic disturbance going on the corner, and so many people will walk by, or they will record the shit going on. No one will attempt to intervene. You said officers needed to deploy gas inside homes. Remember remember people used to come out and cry that they couldn't see. Yeah, that'd be nice. That's one way to do it. But then you have to make sure that it doesn't spread onto other houses, which tends to be an issue, which is the reason why your basic or boot camps or whatever, military training, that the gas chamber was in an area where when it spreads or dissipates, it doesn't, have a lot of direct contact with other people who should not be exposed to that gas. And so you're talking about, we're in a litigious society. That's a great way to get sued, you don't want that to happen. So good idea, but it just doesn't have a lot of, thinking about it, if you will. Defunding is simply moving some of those funds to people more qualified to handle certain situations. Psychiatrists, to mental health calls, and etc. Okay, so let me ask you this question. And this is my 2 cents. Thank you for your comment. What happens when shit goes bad? I mean, you see my YouTube video, and if you haven't, maybe you should have, right? What happens when stuff goes bad? Love you as well. Appreciate that, River Rain. What happens when stuff goes bad? Is the psychologist ready to deal with the person who's just not willing to listen to that, negotiation or that motivation? And I'm not saying you're wrong, right? I do agree there is greatly a need for more training in law enforcement, okay? I got my master's degree, bachelor's, master's. I'm an anger management specialist, nonviolent crisis intervention instructor, certified by Crisis Prevention Institute. And I can tell you, of the stuff that I know now, post law enforcement career, I wish I knew some of that stuff, aside, they give you a little lecture in verbal judo, some exercises here and there, but police training could really use some overhaul. It really could. And the stuff that I know now, I wish I knew when I was a police officer. And think about it. When you're in your 20s and you go into law enforcement, depending upon where you come from and what your childhood and adolescent was like in your 20s, you're still in life college. So you're expected to go out here and enforce the law when, some things about you may not even be correct. And so that's the other aspect of that, that reality that just doesn't get addressed. I think that both sides, the community and the police, need to have some honest conversations, because neither side is perfect, right? Trust me, I'm pro blue. I'm pro blue all day. But both sides need to have an honest conversation, okay? You have to, absolutely, Judith, I agree. You have to have control of the situation before you can get them counseling. I agree 1,000%. Okay. Officers just need to be trained more efficiently in those areas. I agree. Have certain officers respond to mental health calls. My opinion. I agree wholeheartedly. I really agree. LMPD officer was shot. Yes. I need to go and check on that once I get through with live with you all. I just spent about an hour on Facebook talking about the same scenarios and stuff like that. My 2 cents. Point taken. However, add funds in a transparent way that will give them the training. Let me tell you something, my 2 cents, and then I'll get back to the GJ, or the grand jury decision in this. First of all, it's funny you say that. It really is. As a police trainer, I argued and advocated for more police training, and it all comes down to dollars and cents. I wish you all could sit in these board meetings. I wish you all could sit in these budget meetings and stuff like that. I wish that we could gone ahead and have the funds to have more training. And a lot of times police budgets get cut. This is what you all don't understand. And it depends on what department we're talking about. But police budgets get cut. And I wish we had the ability to have more force on force training. This is what I wish. I wish that we had like community-based training, where you had officers in these scenarios, and then you had the community from outside who would volunteer, and different roles being played and stuff like that, where the community could see the police and the police could see the community. I would love that to be the case. Because you got some officers that come from some backgrounds, and we are only the collection of our experiences, thoughts, and education. We are only just the collection of that. And given that, I've dealt with people who have told me just flat out, some white folks who have told me just flat out, look, I'm going to be honest with you, Officer Mike, and I feel like I say this to you because I kind of gauged your, how you take things. I couldn't stand black folks. I really couldn't. Like, I was trained this way, I was trained that way. But man, are you different? You and, Johnson and Smith and Washington, you guys are different for some reason. And it's not like you kissing ass or being a sycophant or whatever the case may be. But you're really being a different version of what I thought black folks were supposed to be. And it's about changing the narrative. It's about changing the reality. Now you got assholes in every race. That's just my opinion. I've seen it in every race. But you got, some of us we're change agents. Teach me about you. Teach me why you think the way you are. Teach me why you think the way you do. I love that my parents did not get me to see race. Not my parents, but my grandparents more so. I love that they didn't get me to see race. Not that I'm blind to it. I fucking know I'm black. I know I'm black. I know racism exists. You can't tell me about the shit. But I like the fact that they taught me how to look at the character of a person. I love that. I love the fact that that they taught me how to look at the character of a person, right? And so when you begin to look at the actions, I don't care what you think about me because of right? We're all sitting at this table called America. And this table isn't circle. It has little edges and lands and grooves and cuts and whatnot, right? Little, whatever, right? It's all over. But we're sitting at this table. You could be in Montana, you could be in Washington. I'm in what the fuck Chicago. Some of you could be in California and Florida, wherever. We're at this table. And we got a dealer who's passing out these doggone cards. And they're passing out these cards. And you don't know what hand you're going to get when you're born. You don't know what circumstances you're going to find yourself growing up. You don't know that, right? You don't know that. But you end up finding out about the circumstances about you and about your life and stuff like that, right? And you just have to play the hand that you're dealt. The shit sucks, but you're in the game. You play the hand that you're dealt. And some people don't understand how to have control of themselves to the point where they don't give away what kind of hand they have. Some people look at that hand and just give it away, just like that. And now we know what hand you got, so now we know how to deal with you, because psychologically in your mind you're screwed. So we own your body now. We can do things and attack your mind. You know, it's just sad. It really is. So that's my take on things. I think that this Breonna situation is a tragedy. I really think it is. But I knew that there was no indictment, no true bill that was going to be issued in this case. I knew that. I knew that. Why did I know that? Because if you understand criminal law, you got actus reus, and mens rea. You got actus reus, which is Latin for the guilty act. Sure, she died, right? Sure, they shot her. But then you got the mens rea, the mental intent. There's no evidence to suggest that they, with malice aforethought, planned on killing her, that they were reckless in that. They were returning fire after having been shot. Shit happens. It does. And that doesn't mean her life doesn't matter. Yes, her life matters. But what could she have done to make her life matter? You really need to look at that 41-page document. You really need to look at that 41-page document of all the evidence they had mounted against her. And they didn't have to do anything to plant shit either, right? This is all her own doing. Multiple cars in her name, allowing parcels and hand-to-hand transactions and quick pickups, right? She was holding Jamarcus Glover's money. And this is on a jailhouse phone call. She's a part of the criminal conspiracy. And had she not been shot, she would have been in custody like these three, or like these two, Jamarcus Glover and Adrian Walker. She would have been the third face you would have seen at the end of that. Breonna Taylor. She would have been charged with the conspiracy to commit narcotics trafficking. You would have seen that. So the question that I have is this. What in her village caused her to go down this pathway? Breonna Taylor is not a new story. She is she's not even e pluribus unum, out of many one. It's the other way around. Just when you think it's one, it's many. How many other women, regardless of race, do their bidding of a guy who probably doesn't care about them no more than what they're doing for that person? Right? I'm just saying. It's yeah, I'm looking at it. I agree with you, but the police should be required to go through more training. Defund is the rally cry. So answer back with, we will give more training and we will find the funds to do it. I agree. I agree with that wholeheartedly, my 2 cents. I agree with that. Thank you, Moonster. I agree with that. I really, really do. I'm going to go live with you all more. Trying to find a way to do it both Facebook and YouTube, because that would have been a great thing for you all to interact with. But hey, I'll take what I can get. Okay. This is my first time going live with you guys. So I hope that you all, I'm going to put more content up here, more firearms content, more criminal justice content, whatever you guys want to see, throw it out there. So I'll put it up there. Okay. Putting out more content. And again, go check out the Facebook page, Mike Brown. Okay. You can always go to Instagram or TikTok. I got like close to 200,000 followers on TikTok. Social media is funny like that. But you can always go to TikTok at Yes Mike Said It, Instagram Yes Mike Said It. Okay. Don't forget to subscribe here. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications. I'm also a children's book author too, because I recognize that some of the problems start from when we are young. Hey, what's going on? You said you're a GTA gaming channel, but you really enjoy my content. I appreciate that. You're from Chicago. Hit me up. Maybe we can talk or whatever the case may be. I would love to continuously, just chat with some people about certain things. Loved your first live YouTube video. I appreciate that too. Check out my books on Amazon. What I Tell Myself First, Children's Real World Affirmations of Self-Esteem. It starts when we're kids. There are a lot of us adults that are walking around with wounds from our childhood that we have not healed from. I see your comment, my 2 cents. I'll read that. You say use OBS software, preferably OBS Studio, to stream to multiple platforms. I'm going to check that out. I appreciate that. I'm going to appreciate that. A lot of the traumas that we go through start from when we are young. When we are young, okay? And so that's why I wrote that book, What I Tell Myself First, endorsed by the National Anger Management Association, stuff like that. Even what I tell myself about talent, children who need to learn about the talent that they have within themselves and stuff like that from the things that they do every day. What I tell myself about self-protection. It's an active book. An active book. Oh, wow. A major in Louisville shot in the head and another shot in the chest. Yeah, I'm going to end this live so we can go on ahead and look at that stuff. I'm sure I'm going to have more stuff to talk about. This is horrible. Oh, my God. Judith, yes, I appreciate that, Judith. Just follow me. We're going to talk about more about this stuff, too. And here's my new book that's coming out, Mommy, Daddy, Please Teach Me. I even got a book for the adults called Stuck in Fuck. The Aftermath of After Ass, How to Unfuck Your Parental Past. Look, baby mama, baby daddy dramas and stuff like that. I am an advocate for, I am an advocate for parentage issues. I am an advocate for parentage issues. Parental alienation, baby mama, baby daddy issues, husband, wife, stuff like that. Family law. I'm an advocate for trying to help fathers reconnect with their children. And so we need to get people like me to get the blacks out. Yeah, Bill Rowe, that's ignorant, but I'm not gonna pay attention to you or not. I'm not gonna pay attention to you or not. We're gonna keep on going. So just check out the books, and then we'll talk more about this stuff. But I appreciate you all, and fathers and mothers, talk to your children. Talk to your children. We can do a better job of keeping our kids away from certain people who mean us no good. I have every belief that Jamarcus Glover did not mean Breonna Taylor any good and just used her for his narcotics enterprise. And she suffered because of that. I appreciate you, Christopher Palmer. I hope I said that right. Christopher Palmer. I appreciate that. All right, I'm going to get out of here. I think that the problem is that good cops are forced to cover for the bad cops based on a blue line, and it's making it bad for everybody. It's a little bit more than that. I would say this, and I'm going to answer your question, the general truth, and I'm out of here. The same things that affect the community in terms of why the community doesn't snitch against the gangbangers is the same thing why good cops are reluctant to say anything against bad cops. You get good cops that tell on bad cops, but the frequency, not as much as you would think. Why? Same thing that can happen to a person who snitches in the streets could be the same thing that can happen to a police officer when he or she needs assistance. I mean, the tactics that bad cops deploy on good cops are just horrible. And so that's why we need more people like you. More people like you to sign up, And I will end with this, okay? David Brown, former Dallas police chief and current superintendent in Chicago, said this, okay? We're hiring. Get off that protest line and put in an application. And we'll put you in your neighborhood, and we will help you resolve some of the problems you're protesting about. And that becomes part of the problem. Part of the problem. I appreciate that, Jacob. That becomes part of the problem. When you don't want to become part of the solution. The United States Marine Corps has a saying. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody is willing to die. Everybody wants to go to heaven. Nobody's willing to die. It's easy to talk about theories when you're not putting your life on the line. When you're putting your life on the line and you go into the fire, you can testify about how it feels to get burned. Okay? This is Instructor Mike. Again, you have been trained. I love you guys. Thank you for making my first live on YouTube amazing. I love your interaction. Let's keep it going, okay? Don't forget to follow me on Facebook at Mike Brown on Instructor Mike. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Yes Mike Said It. Subscribe to my YouTube page, Instructor Mike. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the bell for notifications. Get your ass in someone's concealed carry course. It is no one's job to protect you but you.